Hello and welcome to today's brand new video. Today we'll be talking about the love triangle in Folklore by Taylor Swift. So, firstly, background is in Taylor Swift's eighth studio album, Folklore. There is three songs that are connected to make a story. These three songs are Cardigan, August, and Betty. They basically tell a story of James, Betty, and Augustine, or August, whichever you want to call it. And the story basically is the following. We'll get more into it as the video progresses, but the story is that James originally falls in love with this girl called Betty. Then, during the summer, he finds this summertime crush on his neighborhood and then starts dating Augustine for a short while. Then they both find out about each other, Augustine and Betty, and this is where the story collapses, and we'll get into more in detail as we analyze the song. The first of the trilogy is Cardigan, which here, vintage tea, brand new phone. Uh, you put me on and I said I was your favorite. A friend to all is a friend to none. This lyric could mean that if you try to be a friend to too many people, then you aren't a friend to any of them. And this could imply that he wasn't actually invested into any of them. He wasn't invested into both of them because he wasn't a friend to both of them. So, yeah, once in 20 lifetimes, and we haven't confirmed who is writing on this. It is in theory that Cardigan was written from the perspective of Betty, August from the perspective of Augustine, and Betty from James's perspective. So let's get into more lyrics. Uh, this the lyrics imply that the Betty feels that James wasn't giving enough, and such as this lyric says, "You put me on and then said I was your favorite." So she's implying that he just put her on and let her talk and said that she was her favorite, but did he actually mean it? Or did he want something else? Did he feel like he wanted to be with Augustine more? And we'll never know because she never continued the story, Taylor. So, once in 20 lifetimes, I felt, and when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, this could be that Betty felt like she was under, she felt like an old cardigan and she felt rusted after having dealt with what James had done to her. And now to the bridge. Peter losing Wendy. Tried to change the ending, Peter losing Wendy. I I knew you leaving like a father running like water. This could be I knew you leaving like a father. It could mean that she knew he was gonna leave her. And yeah. Now we can expand more on Betty, that it has more lyrics that we can base this off of. Betty, I won't make assumptions about why you switched to your homeroom, but I think that's because of me. So James here is taking credit for what he had done, and uh yeah, like he says, you can't believe a word she says most times, but this time it was true. Meaning Inez. Inez is a secondary character. She doesn't really play much in the story other than this line right here, and she gets mentioned a few more times in the song. But yeah, so here we can see that James takes into accountability of what he had done, which was, of course, messing up their relationship and leaving like a father running like water. So, for example, here, the worst thing I ever did was what I did to you. But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you want me? And here he's trying to gain trust with Betty and being able to get confidence with her. Uh, in here in the song, we're able to see, for example, here in the bridge, um, we can see, um, that he, Betty, I'm here on your doorstep and I planned it out for weeks now, but it's finally sinking in. So he's invested into her, committed into her after being in a small relationship with Augustine. So this could mean that he finally chose Betty instead of Augustine. And that hurt Augustine, obviously, and we're gonna get more into her feelings a bit later. But I can dream about what happens when you see my face again. The only thing I want to do is make it up to you. So I showed up at your party. He feels regret for what he had done. So he wants to make it up with her, like I've said multiple times. So, um, yeah, now Augustine, which obviously talks about the how Augustine feels about this, since she's kind of in the middle. She kind of doesn't have much, but um, will you call when you're back at school? I remember thinking I had you. I remember thinking I had you is an important part because it talks about how Augustine obviously didn't know about Betty and how James was cheating on Betty to be with her. So she wasn't aware that he was doing this. So she thought that everything would be just fine, but it wasn't. And we could also see that she says, "Remember when I pulled up and said, get in the car and then cancel my plans just in case you called? Back when I was living for the hope of it all, for the hope of it all." She says that she canceled her plans just in case you called. So she was invested into him and wanted to spend every single minute with him, whatever that took, even if it meant canceling her plans just in case he called. Uh, and she would even do it, meet me behind the mall. So she would also try to do as he said it. So she was invested into him, but we could see that that commitment wasn't going back. As we just saw that in Betty, he ended up committing towards Betty, the who he cheated on. And then in Cardigan, we could see if she how she felt. And you'd come back to me, and when I felt under someone's bed, you'd put me on and said I was your favorite. So I knew I'd curse you for the longest time, chasing shadows in the grocery line. I knew you'd miss me once the thrill expired, and you'd be standing in a French board line late. So she knew all along that he was gonna come back to her, but we can't really see if James decided if Betty decided to go back with James or how that ended. Also for poor Augustine, I kind of feel bad for her because she dedicated her entire life for just to spend time with James, but he kind of ditched her. But you can leave your opinions in the comments down below. Anyway, that will be all for today's video. See you all another day.